Aries, what is going on with you? Come on in, have a seat, make yourself comfortable. My name's Alan from UnknownTruthTarot.com. Welcome back to another Aries love reading. Now, in today's Aries reading, we are going to take a look at the status of the love connection between you and your romantic person of interest. And I'm going to do that by getting one card to represent the mutual point of interest between the two of you here in June 2022. Then I'm going to get 3 cards for you, Aries, 3 cards for your person. Then I'm going to clarify everything with the second deck, just to make sure we can get down to the bottom of the unknown truth about what's really going on in this love connection of yours. Now, as always, this is not a personal reading. This is a general collective reading, which means I'm not tapping into your specific energy as an individual person the same way I would if I were doing a personal reading for you. Now, if a personal reading with me is something you're interested in, I would be happy to do one for you. You can get all the information about my personal readings in the description right below this video and in the first pinned comment below this video. But this is a general collective reading, which means I'm tapping into the collective energy of a large group of Aries people that I'm responsible for getting messages for. And that pretty much means that there's no possible way this reading is going to resonate with every single Aries person on the whole planet all at the same time, because not every Aries person on the planet is going through the same situation or the same set of energies at the same time. It's also important to keep in mind in collective readings like this that energies can and do get flipped around backwards from time to time, especially for cross watchers. So if you're not an Aries and you're just watching this Aries love reading because you have the hots for an Aries and you want to know what's going on between the two of you, I'm totally cool with that. Just keep in mind, though, that especially for cross watchers, energies are very prone to get flipped around backwards. So if this reading comes out feeling like I've got it flipped around backwards, that's because the energies have gotten reversed for you. So just take it however it resonates. Now, regardless of how this reading resonates for you, you should still probably watch the videos for your moon sign, your rising sign, and your Venus sign, just because they can give you more insight and clarity about what's really going on in your particular situation. And you can find the links to those videos, the information on my personal readings, the different tarot decks I'm using in this reading, Aries crystals like Aura Quartz, Orgone pyramids. I have an Aries Orgone pyramid. All kinds of fun, helpful stuff is in the description right below this video, so be sure to check that out. Enough yakking though, let's get on with this Aries love reading for June 2022 and what is the mutual point of interest between Aries and their romantic person of interest here in June 2022. Let's get one card for that. I'll be danged, this card is the one that jumped out while I was doing that little intro there. 5 of Swords, here it is again. I put it back in the deck, hoping that wasn't what it was going to be, and here it is. Let's get 3 cards for you, Aries. What's going on with Aries as it relates to their romantic person of interest and the connection between them in June 2022? Okay. Let's get 3 cards for your person. What's going on with Aries' romantic person of interest as it relates to Aries and the connection between them here in June 2022? And I've got one to flip over in the deck. Let me dig this bad boy out here. Where'd you go? There you are. Well, you don't say. Okay, on the bottom of the deck, the overall energy of this reading is the 4 of Swords. This is Libra energy. This is an energy of taking a pause, taking a rest, taking a break. It's about trying to go inside to calm yourself down, to calm your mind down, to do some healing about something, or to do some thinking about something, trying to figure out how to move forward here. A lot of times when I see this in a personal reading, which I know this is not one, but usually this will represent that there is a break in the connection between the two of you, like you guys are on a break. Might be, I don't know though. We got the Fool next though. This is the first card of the Major Arcana, card 0. It's the first card of the entire tarot deck. Usually this card is about taking the blind leap of faith on something. It's about not needing to know what all the steps are from beginning to end before you take the first step. It's not needing to know what the final outcome is going to be before you take the first step. It's about just having that blind faith to say, you know what, screw it, I'm going to go for it. It's like jumping off the cliff and worrying about how to grow wings on the way down. It's like, I'm just going to do this and I'll figure it out as I move along here. Now, sometimes this can represent an energy of risk-taking behavior, as in someone taking risks outside of the connection. It's possible that's what's going on. We have the Knight of Swords next. This is the fastest moving knight in the deck. This is about rushing forward and taking some rapid, decisive action on something. The Knight of Swords is not the dude who comes rushing in all super fast and then has to sit down and read the instruction manual to figure out what to do and how to do it. This is the person who comes in super fast, does something, they don't think about it first, just like the Fool. Two energies of that right in a row. They don't think about it first. They don't bother to think about it until after they've already rushed in, done it, and left. And then that's when they think about it. So this can be like a spontaneous, like spur of the moment type of a thing where somebody does some sort of an action taking thing very quickly and they didn't really think about it first. I've got like two energies in a row that kind of indicate that here. So that's the overall energy, like the overall gist of what it looks like this is going to talk to me about. I will probably have to come back to this a little bit more as we move through the reading here, just so it clarifies itself and makes more sense. But that's the overall energy. The mutual point of interest between the two of you in June 2022, this is like shared energy that's affecting both of you in some way. It doesn't necessarily have to affect you both in the same way, but it's affecting both of you. And we have the Five of Swords as that mutual energy. This is one card up from the Four of Swords. So we've got Four of Swords as the overall energy. Things are escalating a little bit here into the Five of Swords. This is Aquarius energy. This is usually not a good energy. Fives are conflict. So swords are about thoughts or communications. So this is a conflict in the thinking, or this is a conflict in the communications, like arguing, fussing, fighting, bitter words being spoken, like words being used like weapons, tongues being used like swords to cut. This is a big fight that happens a lot of time. At its core, this is like a mentally and psychologically painful situation or event. This can be someone with a winning at all costs mentality, like I'm going to get what I want. I don't really care what happens to you as long as I get what I want. That's all I'm concerned about. It could be someone that's done some sort of a betrayal. It can be a whole lot of different things. So let me clarify this and see what's going on here. Tell me about this Five of Swords. Why is that the mutual point of interest between Aries and their person? Oh, sheesh. Make sure nothing else flipped. Sheesh. I don't read reversals, and this one's reversed on the bottom of the deck, so I don't know what that's trying to tell me. I don't know if maybe I just didn't pick the cards up correctly the last time before I shuffled this, or if we got something funny going on here. But on the bottom of the deck, I have the Ten of Swords in reverse. I don't read reversals, so whenever one happens like that, I just automatically turn it right side up unless it tells me not to. And this one's not telling me that I can't turn it right side up, so I'm going to turn it back right side up. The Ten of Swords is Gemini energy. This is a swift, painful ending to something. This is sometimes an ending you don't see coming, hence the swords being stuck in the person's back. If he saw it coming, they'd be in his front, not his back. Sometimes this is an ending in betrayal. Hence the swords being in his back. He got stabbed in the back. This card that I'm clarifying can signify a betrayal of some sort. It's looking like we're on a break in this connection. Possibly from some risk-taking behavior that just happened and wasn't thought about very well beforehand. They just did it and it happened. Yeah, that's what's going on, because right behind this Ten of Swords, I've got the Three of Swords. This is Libra energy. This is heartbreak and sadness from a third energy. Now, that third energy does not always have to be a romantic third party, although it totally can be. Sometimes the third energy is another family member or a friend or a neighbor, or some external person that's sticking their nose where it doesn't belong. Sometimes that third energy can be your career. Like anything that we do enough of is going to create its own energy. My business has created its own energy in my life. I put so much time, effort, energy into it that it has an energy now, and it affects my life. It affects my son's life. It affects my fiance's life. So this can be literally anything that's not you, Aries, that's not your person, that's somehow causing some sort of a heartbreaking thing here, including, but not limited to, a romantic third party. Right under that, we have the Five of Wands. So I'm clarifying a 5, which again is conflict. And I have another 5 here in the clarifiers. This is also a conflict. Wands are about passion, desire. So this is a conflict in the desires here, an internal conflict where a piece of one of you wants one thing and another piece of them wants the exact opposite of that. And they're having this internal battle of tug of war inside what it is that they want. They're pulling themselves in multiple different directions at the same time regarding what they want, what they have desire for. Now, this can also be an internal conflict in the connection because I'm in the shared energy right now. So this could be a thing where, Aries, you want one thing, your person wants pretty much the opposite of that, and you guys are playing tug of war against each other. Could be why we're having a painful situation that probably has some arguing to it. It could be that there was another person here involved, and now someone is torn here between which one do I want. Okay, now to clarify this 5 of Swords, this mentally, psychologically painful situation, this fight, this conflict, this could be any number of things. I'm feeling like this has also got something to do with someone having a winning at all costs mentality. Like they want what they want, they're going to do whatever the hell they want to do, and they don't care how it affects anybody else. To clarify that, I got the Emperor, the 7 of Swords, the World, and the Tower. So the Emperor is a control energy. This is a master manifester kind of an energy, but at its core, this card is about taking control of a situation, taking charge of a situation. This can be someone who has all the tools and resources to put together a plan to get what they want and then execute that plan to get what they want. Again, like, what I want is the most important thing. And it's kind of the same energy with an emperor. If you look at the emperors of ancient Rome, just as an example, they didn't really care how many soldiers died or how many women ended up with a dead husband or how many kids ended up with a dead father. What they really cared about is getting what they wanted. I want to go conquer this neighboring territory. I want to take everything, bring it all back for me, line my pockets full of money, put my faces on some statues here, and if all you guys happen to die in the process, well, tough shit for you. As long as I get what I want, that's what my primary concern is. That's kind of what I'm feeling here. Next card we have to clarify this 5 of Swords is the 7 of Swords. This is Aquarius energy. This is usually not a good energy. This is usually lying, cheating, stealing, deception, sneaking around behind your back, trying to get away with something. Now, that's not the only meaning to this card. This card can also mean self-preservation, as in not wanting to be hurt. We have a painful situation here. We've got trying to heal something, trying to take some time to figure that out. Clearly been some painful stuff going on. 10 of Swords, 3 of Swords, another conflict card. You'll notice the guy is carrying away 5 swords. We're clarifying the 5 swords. So this can definitely be an energy of not wanting to be hurt, which is why he's stealing the 5 swords, the painful thing. He's trying to prevent getting hurt. He doesn't want the swords to be used against him. He doesn't want to be hurt by them, so he steals them to make sure that he can't be hurt. Another meaning to this can be leaving something behind. He can only carry 5 swords, and he's got to leave these other 2 behind. So it can mean any of those things. It could be the deception end of things, cheating, sneaking around. It could be, that could be what your person's doing. This could be you not wanting to get hurt. It could be one or both of you contemplating leaving this behind. That could be what we're trying to figure out here. That could be what the internal conflict is about, where a piece of you wants to leave it behind because of the pain. Another piece of you might feel like this connection is deeper than just something physical. It's deeper than just something emotional. To one or both of you, this could feel like a very powerful connection. I've got the High Priestess here. She's the source of all emotions, all intuition. She can represent a very deep, powerful connection between the 2 of you. And the 10 of Cups here, this is like the happy fairy tale ending, like the happily ever after type of a love connection, the true love that we all look for. So it could be that's why there is an internal conflict here, because there's a painful thing going on, possibly a third party. At the very least, there's conflict between the 2 of you and pulling in opposite directions, where at least one person is much more concerned with getting what they want than they are pretty much anything else. So this could mean any of those 3 things I said. It could mean all 3 of them at the same time even. It could just be a layered situation here. Next here, to clarify the Five of Swords, is the World. This is the final card of the Major Arcana. We've already seen the first card of the Major Arcana with the Fool. This is the last card. So this is representing some sort of a complete cycle between the two of you here. This, in terms of zodiac signs, would represent the 4 fixed signs: Leo, Taurus, Aquarius, Scorpio. I feel like I've said Aquarius quite a bit so far already. This represents the ending of one cycle and at the same time the beginning of a new cycle. So this is a completion of something and a beginning at something, where we're starting back over at the beginning with the Fool, at a new beginning on something. I can't shake the feeling that there was a third party here already, and I'm just barely into this here, but it's looking like somebody had a third party, did some sneaking around, concerned with what they want, betrayed, caused heartbreak and sadness, probably didn't think about it very much beforehand. They just took the leap of faith. They did it, didn't think about it first, didn't think about it until after it was already too late. I got the Emperor right underneath that again, so I've got both Emperor cards I'm seeing already, the Aries Major Arcana card. Again though, this can be an energy of like putting together a plan to get what they want and then taking charge and just doing it, just executing that plan and not really caring what happens to anybody else as long as they get what they want. And right under that is the Six of Coins, Six of Pentacles, which can sometimes be an energy of balance, like balancing this back out after the fact. It can be equal give and take, but this can also represent the merchant giving to two, as in someone having more than one person that they're giving to here. Looking like a mess, honestly, here. The final card to clarify this Five of Swords is the Tower. Now, this is a game-changing event. This is a very abrupt shift taking place, like a foundation-rocking event. Something coming apart, something crashing down all around the two of you. This can represent like the collapse of the relationship. This can represent the collapse of a belief system, or the collapse of a mental model of the world you were both operating from, where you believed it was one way and then something happened to shatter that belief, and now you realize, holy crap, it's not what I believed it to be. It could be a case where you believed you were guided toward this connection. You believed it was a very powerful love connection, like the happy fairy tale love connection, the person you were supposed to be with, and then something has happened to abruptly change all of that. That could definitely be what's going on. Now, I usually at this point am not 100% confident in what this overall or this mutual energy is trying to tell me. I usually don't know exactly what it's trying to say until I get part of the way through your energy, Aries, and then I'll be able to see how it applies to you, and then I'll come back to it again when I go through your person's energy, and then I can see how it applies to them. But that's what it's looking like, that's what it's feeling like, and it's looking like we're definitely on a break of some kind between the two of you here, based on some foolish risk-taking type behavior, some actions that weren't very well thought out in advance. Now, in your energy in this connection for June 2022, Aries, we have the Knight of Wands, we have Judgment, and we have the Nine of Wands. First thing I noticed here, all three of your cards are fire energy. You're a fire sign. Looks like you got fired up here. That's what it's looking like. This Knight of Wands. Knights are action takers. Wands are about passion, about desire. This is the second fastest moving knight in the deck. It's about rushing forward and taking rapid, passionate action towards something there's a lot of passion and desire for. Now, sometimes this is also called the player of the tarot deck. It's like a wishy-washy, in and out, back and forth, kind of a bullshit energy, where it's somebody who can't make up their mind, where they rush in all passionately and get what they want, but then they have shifting loyalties. Like, they can't stay in the same place for too terribly long, so they feel this need to like rush out and go somewhere else passionately and get what they want there, and then they end up coming back and forth trying to play both sides of the fence. Again, just like a player, it could represent that I'm going to get what I want from you, and then I'm going to go get what I want from someone else, and I'm going to try and just do that for as long as I can. It could be any of those. So let me clarify that. Tell me more about what's going on with this Knight of Wands. Why is that showing up in Aries energy, please? Why is the Knight of Wands here? Thank you. Bottom of the deck, Six of Wands. This is Leo energy. Again, more fire. This is a card of recognition. Now, that could mean you being publicly recognized for something, or your person, if this is their energy, showing up in your energy because it's affecting you, them getting recognized for something. More often than not, this is an energy of you recognizing something, as in coming to some sort of a recognition about something here. And whatever it is you're recognizing is allowing you to move forward. I'm feeling like you're recognizing something about their behavior, their actions, their wishy-washiness, their in and out, their shifting loyalties. Possibly recognizing that they've got this player mentality here. I've got the Queen of Cups next, which is Cancer energy. This is someone who has a lot of love and emotions. They're very intuitive. They're very in touch with their emotions, and they want to give their love and emotions. So this tells me that you probably have a lot of love and emotions for your person. I'm getting ahead of myself, but the central card in their energy is the King of Cups. So these are counterparts. These are two cards that are supposed to be together, which can represent sometimes two people that are probably supposed to be together, or at least you viewing this person as your counterpart. These are the two people that would work together to build the Ten of Cups, which is, we saw that in the story on the bottom of the deck when I clarified the shared energy. So this could be saying that you're recognizing something about how much you love this person. It could be you're recognizing something related to being the other half of that Ten of Cups. The Queen of Cups has a lid on her cup, and she does that because she's trying to protect her emotions. She doesn't want her emotions becoming contaminated. She doesn't want anything to get in her emotions and contaminate them. She's had that happen in the past, and she's been hurt from it, which is why now she keeps a lid on her cup to prevent that from happening again. There's definitely pain involved here between the two of you. The Seven of Swords is screaming at me again. It's like not wanting to be hurt, not wanting to be hurt again. That's why she keeps the lid on the cup. But ultimately, she wants to be able to take the lid off the cup and pour her love into someone. So that could be part of that internal conflict, that Five of Wands that I saw over here. It could be actually part of what this Knight of Wands is trying to say. It's like you can't make up your mind. Like a piece of you is hurt here. A piece of you recognizes that they're in and out and player and wishy-washy and possibly have a third party. And then another piece of you loves them and wants to pour your love in them, but at the same time doesn't want to be hurt, so you're back and forth about it yourself. I think that's what's going on, because I have the Seven of Cups next, Scorpio energy, of options and choices, but confusion about the options and choices. There's a lot of different cups here. There's a lot of different ways this situation could play itself out. There's a lot of emotions involved here, and you're not wanting to make a mistake and pick the wrong cup. But the clouds of smoke around all these cups represent emotions being clouded. It represent like judgment being clouded and having a hard time making up your mind on something and feeling confused by it. Then I have another seven right under that, the Seven of Pentacles, which is, it's a period of time where you're pausing to reflect on this connection, reflect on the situation you're finding yourself in here. And what you're doing is taking a look at the seeds that have been planted between the two of you, and you're trying to decide, is this ever going to turn into the Ten of Pentacles that I really want? That maximum stability and abundance and prosperity, that stable, happy home life that we all want. Is this ever going to turn into us combining our lives together and blending our lives together into one? Is this worth me continuing to invest my time, effort, and energy into? Or if you're on a break, reinvest your time, effort, and energy into this. Is it worth it? Or is this a spot where maybe it's never going to pan out? Maybe it's never going to reach that 10 of Pentacles that I want. Maybe I should just cut my losses and move on. So this represents that period of time where you're reflecting and contemplating those types of things, those types of questions. Yeah, I think there's times when you're contemplating cutting it off and moving on. And then you change your mind. And then you get to this spot of Temperance where maybe I should just be patient. Maybe I should blend this together slowly and step back and look at it again and then come in and make some adjustments to it and try to blend this together. This can be a reconciliation energy because water and cups in tarot represent love and emotion. So here, the love has been separated into two different cups, which is what happens when you're on a break. And the angel is recombining it back together into one. She's blending the love back together, reconciling the situation here. It looks like you're having a difficult situation. The first card in a person's energy is always the most important. And for you, it's the Knight of Wands. And I feel like it's a dual meaning. I feel like a piece of this is your person's behavior showing up in the first position for you because what they've done has so strongly affected your energy. But it's also what they have done and what you recognizing about them is strongly affecting your energy. And it's making you wishy-washy in terms of what to do moving forward from here. Like you can't fully make up your mind, I don't think. The very first clarifier for that is the Chariot. And we have the Page of Wands, the Knight of Swords, and the Nine of Wands. So again, 2 out of those 4 clarifiers. Wands energy, fire energy. There's a lot of passion and desire here. Passion, though, is not always like lovey-dovey passion. Sometimes passionate can mean like screaming and yelling because I'm very passionate about my position on something and I know it's worth fighting for. So it can end up in fighting. It could totally end up that way. This Chariot card is the fastest energy in the deck. It's faster than that Knight of Swords we've seen and that we're going to take a look at again here in just a second. This is about, it's the Cancer Major Arcana card. It's about using the will to move forward past any problems or challenges or obstacles that are in the way, to get past all of that through sheer will alone and move forward in success and victory very, very quickly. It's kind of like the Major Arcana version of this Six of Wands. Actually, I think you would have to combine like the Six of Wands and probably the Six of Swords and probably like the Eight of Wands. If you could roll all 3 of those up into one energy, that's pretty close to what the Chariot is. Now, this is also, even though it can be the fastest energy in the deck, it can also be every bit as stuck as the Hanged Man, where it doesn't move at all. It can even be very similar to that Five of Wands where there's this internal conflict and a pulling in multiple directions because the driver doesn't have any reins that connects him to the beasts that pull this thing. He uses will alone to power this, to steer it, to control it. So if the driver is not in alignment, if he's not all in perfect alignment and balanced, this thing either isn't going to go anywhere and it's every bit as stuck as the Hanged Man, or even worse, the dark side and the light side will pull in 2 different directions. And as it moves forward, it will rip itself in half because it's pulling in 2 different directions, which seems to be some of what's going on here. I did see the internal conflict between you in the shared energy. It doesn't feel like you both are pulling in the same direction. It also feels like from your energy, you're not pulling every piece of you pulling in the same direction in terms of what you're going to do here moving forward. I feel like you've been hurt and a piece of you is saying, I need to just cut my losses and be done with this so I don't get hurt again. And another piece of you is still trying to figure out how we can fix this. And I think you probably flip back and forth between those two. It probably depends what day of the week it is I ask you or what time of the day I ask you, and I'll probably get a different answer each time. Next, to clarify that Knight of Wands is the Page of Wands. Now, pages are messengers, so this is news and messages and communication about passion and desire. This is also the minor arcana version of this Fool that we already saw. It's a lot more toned down than the Fool. The Fool just jumps off the cliff and he worries about how to grow wings on his way to the ground. And this is much more toned down. This is about having the willingness to take the first steps down a brand new path towards something there's passion and desire for. It's also a page, which is the least developed of the court cards. It goes page, knight, queen, king. So this is not a king showing up here. This is actually a step backwards from the knight that I'm clarifying. So this can represent premature, immature communication about passion. It can just represent someone who is not fully mature here. It could represent you being at this beginning stage of trying to decide which path to go down, or you've already started taking steps down a path here. It could even just represent that your person was having passionate communications to someone that wasn't you, and that's part of what the whole problem is that's going on. That could be part of what the sneaking around behind your back was about. Could be the thing that caused the ending of a cycle in a tower here. Could be part of their player energy, the passionate communications. Next, to clarify that Knight of Wands, we have the Knight of Swords again. I've already seen that here in the overall energy. Very fast moving energy. It's faster than this Knight of Wands. Not as fast as the Chariot, but it's the third fastest energy in the deck. It's about rushing forward and taking some rapid, decisive action that wasn't really thought about first. I think that's what's happened here. Your person has done some of this stuff and it's showing up over here, affecting you. And again, I'm getting that conflicted energy where there's a piece of you pulling one way and a piece of you pulling another way, and you're changing your mind, because at times there's a piece of you willing to take the first steps down the path with your person, and at other times you're wanting to run the opposite direction of them very quickly. Now, it could be you're conflicted because they exchanged passionate messages and then acted on those without really thinking it through, and it's affected everything, because the final clarifier here is the Nine of Wands, Sagittarius energy. This is a card of being walled off and defensive. It's also a card of healing. This is the wounded warrior, and he's been hurt, hence the wall he's built around himself. It's a defense mechanism. It's a way for him to try and protect himself, because he doesn't want to be hurt anymore. He doesn't want to get hurt again. He doesn't want to continue getting hurt. So he puts the wall up to try and protect himself. So this is telling me that whatever has happened, you are the one that's experiencing the pain of it here. Because I don't just have that as the clarifier for your first card, which is the most important. It's also the last card in your energy. So I'm using two decks. I've got both Nine of Wands on your side in your energy. So you're the one that's been hurt here. Central to your energy here in June 2022 in this connection, we have Judgment. This is a final decision being made. This is passing final verdict and judgment on the situation, making a final decision. Usually in a love reading, this is about deciding, is this dead and over with? Or are we going to resurrect this? Are we going to call it back from the grave, bring it back to life, and transform it in a way so that it's never like this ever again? Tell me more about Judgment, please. Why is Judgment here in central energy for Aries? What is Judgment here, please? Oh, I got one flip right here. Where'd you go? Let me make sure there's nothing else that flipped. Okay. Bottom of the deck, you can't make it up. Five of Wands, Leo energy. Fives are conflict. Wands are about desires. This is a conflict in your desires in terms of this decision that you have to make. Is it dead and over? Can we resurrect this? And you're internally conflicted about that. A piece of you wants to resurrect it. Another piece of you is pissed and wants this to be dead and over with, and you're passing your judgment on it. But you're pulling yourself in multiple different directions at the same time. You can't make up your mind. I've got your first card tells me that you're having trouble making up your mind. The first clarifier is telling me that you're conflicted on it and pulling in two different directions. The next two clarifiers are also pulling in two different directions. all you know for sure is that you've been hurt and a decision needs to be made here, I think your intuition is trying to tell you something. Your gut feelings are telling you something. I think it's also saying that you're internally conflicted because, at least as far as you're concerned, this was a powerful, deep connection here. It wasn't just physical. It wasn't just emotional. It was deeper than that. And it's also your intuition is telling you something. And a lot of times when people's intuition tells them something, either they don't want to hear that because that's not the truth they're hoping for, so they try to ignore their intuition and their gut feelings, even though it keeps screaming at them. Sometimes it's just really hard to tell, is that actually my intuition, or is that like my wishful thinking, or is that really my intuition, or am I just being too negative because I'm hurt and I'm not really listening to the message that I'm getting here? But I feel like your intuition is telling you something, and it's probably telling you what you don't want to hear, because the next card right beneath that is the Ten of Swords, that swift, painful ending, an ending you didn't see coming, an ending in betrayal. Now this could be telling me intuitively you had gut feelings, intuitive hits that there was some ending coming because there was a betrayal. But this is really feeling like your intuition is telling you, hey, you're internally conflicted on this decision because your intuition's telling you one thing, and that's not what you want to hear. That's not the truth you were hoping for. So you're trying to push your intuition off, but your intuition is telling you this is dead and over with. Yeah, because of the third party, Three of Swords, heartbreak and sadness from a third energy. And then there's that other piece of you that's still viewing this person as the King of Cups, the counterpart to that Queen of Cups that I saw in your first column of cards in the bottom of the deck. That you have a lot of love and emotions for them still. And there's also sadness and remorse about the past here, being focused on the 3 cups that have been spilled, the love and emotions that have been spilled. You're focused on the past, and you're feeling what you felt in the past. You're focused on the thing that you've lost, and you're feeling the loss. You're focusing on what you think is missing from your life, and you're feeling that gap in your life. And it can cause you to miss an opportunity here. I think you still believe that there is a love connection between the two of you. That's the Two of Cups there in the background, the love connection. This card tells you that your focus is not necessarily in the right place, because what you focus on will literally determine the emotions that you feel. I think there's the sadness and the remorse about what happened. The Moon is next. This is fear, worry, and anxiety about the uncertainty. It's also a feeling like something's hidden in the dark, like there's something I don't know about. There's something I can't see. There's something being hidden from me, a secret being kept. I think that's what the secret was. Your person had another person, and either your intuition told you and you didn't listen, or that's what this is just clarifying the story about why we're at this decision point of, is it dead and over, or can we resurrect it? And I really think you're conflicted on that, because your intuition is telling you one thing, that it's over, and that's not what you want to believe. That's not what the answer you want. That's not what you want it to be. The very first clarifier for that goes right in line with that, the King of Swords, Page of Cups, Four of Wands, and the Fool. The King of Swords is Gemini energy, or sometimes Aquarius energy. This is a very smart, very logical, very rational, analytical person. It's someone who is a decision maker. When he makes his decisions, though, he is completely emotionally detached. He does not consult his emotions when he decides. He does not consult his intuition when he decides. Again, it's like your intuition's telling you one thing, and that's not what you want to hear, so you're trying to block it out. He has emotions. He has intuition. He just doesn't want to listen to it. He wants to use his conscious mind. He wants to use his logic and his reason and his analysis and his thoughts to figure out what to do, to make the decision with. That's where your internal conflict lies. It's an internal conflict between your conscious mind and your unconscious mind, between your head and your heart, your thoughts and your feelings. Which again is sitting right next to this Chariot, which is like there's a piece of you pulling one way and another piece of you pulling the opposite way. Next clarifier we have for Judgment is the Page of Cups. News, messages, communications about love and emotions. Romantic messages, lovey-dovey messages being exchanged here. This also can represent someone who is emotionally immature. Sitting right next to the Page of Wands. So this is feeling like what your person was doing. When they were sneaking around behind your back trying to get what they wanted and weren't really concerned, it's what caused the ending of a cycle in a tower in this painful situation. And look, this card just kind of like flipped itself over. It's what caused the conflict, and it exposes the High Priestess. This is telling me like this whole time this shit was going on, you had some intuitive feelings about it. It's almost like you knew, you didn't have any proof of it, you could feel something was off, and you probably didn't want that to be true, so you didn't listen to your intuition. That's kind of what I'm getting from that. That might not be the case. It might be that way for you and different for the next person, or maybe you did listen to your intuition and the next person that's going to watch this didn't, but I'm feeling that. Next we have the Four of Wands. This is Aries energy. This is stability of the home life, stability of the family life, stability of the connection between the two of you. Those four wands represent 1111, which is the number of manifesting. This probably had, at least from your perspective, some stability in this connection before the immature stuff started happening. It's also probably you not wanting to lose the stability, not wanting to pass judgment and end this stable, happy home, family life, stable connection that you want. Even though your intuition's telling you it's over, you don't really want it to be over. Now, it could also be telling me that there was stability here before this stuff happened, before the lovey-dovey messages, before the action got taken that wasn't very well thought out first. Yeah, before we got to that Fool energy. And again, look how close the Fool, Knight of Swords. I just showed you the Knight of Swords, the Fool sitting right here by it again. So definitely risky behavior went on. Taking risks outside the connection. It was not thought about very well in advance, and that's what led to the wall coming up. That's what led to you being hurt. Very last card for you, Aries, is that same Nine of Wands. You've been hurt here. Your walls have come up as a way to try and protect you here. Tell me about this Nine of Wands for Aries. Why is the Nine of Wands here for Aries? Thank you, thanks. Yeah. Bottom of the deck, Queen of Cups. You still have love and emotions for them, even though they hurt you. You're guarding yourself, though. You're trying to prevent from getting hurt again. Again, that's what I'm feeling from this Seven of Swords as it's affecting you, is Aries doesn't want to be hurt anymore. Man, you still have love and emotions for them. You still, if you had the big red magic easy button and you could push it to make this any way you wanted it to be, you would probably want to still be able to dump your love and emotions into them, still be counterparts with them, probably keep this stability. Again, she's the most intuitive queen in the whole deck. The only card more intuitive than this is that High Priestess. And I saw what the High Priestess is telling you, what your intuition is telling you. Ten of Swords, it's dead and over with. Again, your intuition is speaking to you here. And death is the next card. Scorpio major arcana card. An ending to something. This is dead. This is dead and over with, is what your emotions and your intuition are telling you. And it's not what your conscious mind wants to hear. And I think a piece of you is recognizing that. The last time I saw this, it was you recognizing their wishy-washy player behavior. Also probably recognizing that you have this internal conflict where your head and your heart aren't pulling in the same direction here. I think that's what's going on for you, and you might just be starting to figure this out when you're behind the wall trying to not get hurt anymore. To clarify that 9 of Wands, I got the 7 of Wands, 2 of Swords, and Justice. So the 7 of Wands is Leo energy. This is another card of being walled off and defensive. I've got both 9 of Wands from 2 different decks. I'm using both of them out here, walled off and defensive. First clarifier for 9 of Wands is another walled off and defensive card. This is you defending your position on something, defending your stance on something, fighting all this external energy coming at you. This person was caught off guard. I felt that from the, you feel so drained and so tired from this situation. I keep fighting off a yawn and I'm not tired at all. This person was caught off guard here. He's got 2 different shoes on. Because he was caught off guard, he didn't expect this to happen, and he had to just grab whatever shoes were laying there and put them on to defend his position here, to fight off this onslaught of other energy coming at him. So this can be you defending your position on something, defending your stance on something behind your wall. It could be you just trying to fight off all this external energy coming at you. It could be you trying to fight for what it is that you believe in, fight for what it is you desire, what you want, trying to fight for this connection, which is, it's laying right next to this King of Swords, which is probably why you're not listening to your intuition. You want this connection. You don't want to believe that this is dead and over with, so you're trying to rationalize and justify and, think your way out of this. Conflict between your head and your heart. That's what's going on. 2 of Swords is next. Libra energy. This is a decision that needs made, but it hasn't been made yet. And the reason it hasn't been made is either you feel like you don't have enough information to decide, or you feel like there's something that you just can't see yet, hence that blindfold. More often than not, it's something that you don't want to see, something you don't want to look at, and that's preventing the decision from being made. Like the lady in the card is trying to decide between these 2 swords, and she's blindfolded. So she can't really decide because she can't see. But why doesn't she just lay one of the damn swords down, take the blindfold off, and pick the sword back up? And now she can see clearly what she's choosing between, and she could make a much better decision. But she chooses not to take the blinders off. She's choosing to leave the blinders on because she doesn't want to see. And that could be a case of what's going on here. Right next to her are the 2 different pages. The Page of Cups, the lovey-dovey messages, the Page of Wands, the passionate messages. I don't know if maybe you don't have facts to support what you feel is going on. And it's just, you're intuitively, you can feel something is not right. It could just be you do have the facts on this, and you don't want it to be true that means it's over, so you're choosing to try and not see something. I feel like you're really conflicted about, do I still want this or not? And pieces of you definitely do still want this. And other pieces of you are, I don't know, this is time to pass judgment on this. I think the one thing you're 100% sure of is you don't want to be hurt anymore. And I think you've got yourself in a situation here where you probably feel like no matter which choice you make, you're going to be hurt. That can be another meaning to the 5 of Swords. Like there's 2 different options here, and it doesn't matter which one I pick, there's going to be pain either way. It could totally be that. The final card to clarify that Nine of Wands is Justice, the Libra Major Arcana card. I have way too many swords out here. Way too many swords out here. This is the most powerful card of balance in the deck. It's about doing the right thing, the fair thing, the just thing. The sword in this card is used to cut away something that's not in balance, so balance gets restored and the right, fair, just thing happens. Like what's supposed to happen can actually happen once it gets balanced out. This card tells me, just because it's here, it tells me something unfair and unjust and out of balance was going on. And that needs to be fixed. That needs to be something cut away so that it gets balanced back out. Justice needs to occur to right the wrong that happened. And it has something to do with the stability of your home life, your family life, and the connection here. It looks to me like the thing that happened was the Fool and this Knight of Swords. This taking actions and risks outside of the connection very quickly without thinking it through first. Again, that's what should have happened. The taking a pause to think about it and figure it out first. But that didn't happen. And now we're on a break because of it. Because somebody was really only worried about what they wanted and they started giving to two. That's what caused them only caring about what they wanted, them only caring about what they wanted, sneaking around behind your back, deception, ending the cycle, Tower, everything collapsed because of that unfair, unjust thing. That's what it looks like to me, Aries. Now let me scoot this over a little bit and get us some more room. That's your energy in this connection. Let's take a look at your person's energy. Because in their energy in this connection for June 2022, we have the Ace of Swords, King of Cups, and the Devil. The Ace of Swords. This is the sword of victory, sword of truth, the sword of clarity. It's the sword you use to make a decision with. Now, the word decision, the Latin word decision comes from, literally means to cut off, like to cut off other options and be left with only one option. That's how you make an actual decision. So this could represent a decision that your person made. Could be their decision is what put you guys on the break here. Their decision was to take risks outside of the connection and not really think it through. Take action on that, not think it through. Could be their decision was, you know what, screw it, I don't care. All I care about is what I want. All I care about is what I want. If Aries gets hurt in the process, well, tough shit for Aries. I'm going to get what I want. Could be that. Now, this can also represent the sword you would use to sever a relationship with. So tell me more about the Ace of Swords. Why is the Ace of Swords here for Aries person, please? Bottom of the deck, High Priestess. This is she who knows. Like, she sits in front of the veil of consciousness, so she knows everything. She has access to all the information that you and I as humans don't have access to. She represents the intuition, the unconscious mind. The problem with her, she doesn't always tell us everything. Sometimes there's stuff that we're not meant to know or that we don't need to know until it's time for us to know. And that's when she clues us in through our intuition, through our gut feelings, signs, synchronicities, dreams with messages in them. Those feelings where you just know something and you don't have any clue how in the hell you know it. You just know that you know it with no possible way of knowing it. That's her. Five of Wands right under that. Again, conflict, internal conflict. This is feeling like your energy showing up in the bottom of the deck, clarifying this Ace of Swords here. Or again, this could be a deep connection for your person as well, but they have some sort of internal conflict about it here. I've got the King of Cups next, which I saw the Queen of Cups twice on your side. Those are counterparts. The King of Cups is your person's central energy here. This is someone who has a lot of love and emotions, but they don't outwardly express it. They don't tell you how they feel. They don't wear their heart on their sleeve. It's also someone who can be in emotional turmoil, and no matter how rough and choppy the waters get around him, you can't tell. He doesn't publicly display that. He keeps that cool, calm, collected demeanor about him, and you can't really tell something's bothering him. And at the same time, you can't tell that this kind of a person actually loves you either, even when they do. Yeah, I'm feeling like there's something else your person was drawn to, or they had some intuitive understanding about the two of you pulling in two different directions. Like they want one thing, you want the opposite of that, and there's that tug of war, internal conflict between them and you. Heartbreak and sadness from a third energy. That's Libra energy again. Yeah, I feel like your person wanted something different here. At least very different than what you wanted. Probably very different than what they had told you that they wanted. To clarify, the Ace of Swords, Nine of Cups, Queen of Pentacles, the Hierophant. Nine of Cups is a card of wish fulfillment. This is Pisces energy. This is also a singles energy. It's one step backwards from that Ten of Cups that we saw, that happy fairy tale love connection, true love that we all want. This is a step back from that. This is someone who's emotionally happy and content in and of themselves. They don't need some external person from them to get their happiness from, or to get their sense of being loved or worthiness of being loved from. They do that for themselves. Sometimes this can be a smug, self-centered energy. Somebody who's intoxicated all the time, overindulges on personal wish fulfillment, like concerned primarily with what their personal wish fulfillment is, even at the expense of others. It doesn't matter. All I care about is me and what I want, which could be why we got a sword here as their first card. It could also be that their personal wish fulfillment is to be single, hence doing something to cause a severing here, to cause a painful situation, to cause a tower to happen. This Queen of Pentacles is Capricorn energy. So far, you should be showing up as the Queen of Wands. That's the Aries card. But I keep seeing you show up as the Queen of Cups. Now I'm seeing the Queen of Pentacles. I don't know if this is telling me that you guys lived together, or were married, or were going in that direction of them trying to build their life around you, or if this is representing another person altogether. Like the King and Queen of Pentacles work together as equals to build the Ten of Pentacles, which is like the combining together of the lives in the physical world, and like living together and stuff like that. Whether that's marriage or just actually living together, or going in the direction of living together. I feel like that's not what your person actually wanted. The very last card is the Hierophant, card of commitment. So again, I've got two cards that are like leading me down the thought process of marriage, or at the very least, a very committed connection. This is taking things to the next level, Taurus energy, like marriage, living together, going to that next level. And that seems to be where they made a decision here and possibly severed something here, because their own wish fulfillment like is at the top of the totem pole in terms of what is important to them, and the commitment is at the bottom of that totem pole here. And I think this could be a case where intuitively you knew that too, but possibly were internally conflicted about that because of the way you felt for them, and you just didn't want to see that either. That's kind of what it's looking like. I'm not meaning to ride your ass and like say things that are hateful or anything, because I don't mean it like that. I'm just trying to get the truth of what's going on, and that seems to be a key piece of it is like your intuition, your gut feelings told you things multiple times through this story, and you didn't want that to be true, so you didn't listen to your intuition. That's another meaning to the Tower, if I'm being real with you here. Like, this is card 16 of the Major Arcana. In numerology, you take those double-digit numbers, like 16, it's a 1 and a 6, and you add those together to get 7. This is the number of the divine. So this is a case where, like, when a Tower happens, most people's first reaction is to go, why is this happening to me? But it's not happening to you, it's happening for you. So this is a case, a lot of times, where you were given signs along the way. There were red flags along the way that says, hey, this is not where you're supposed to be. This is not what is for you. But we're humans. We're stubborn. I've definitely done this before. I saw the red flags, and I don't want to listen to that. I don't want that to be true, so I ignore it. And I keep on keeping on, living in the tower I'm not supposed to be in because it's not for me. Eventually, God or source or spirit or the universe or however you personally view that thing that's bigger than us gets tired of telling you the same damn thing over and over and over again, and you not listening. So they just kick the damn tower down, and they don't give you a choice but to move on from here. And a lot of times that happens when your intuition has been telling you something repeatedly, and you've been getting signs about it repeatedly, but that's not what you want to be true. So you just, no, I don't want that to be true. No. And then something like this happens. Now you don't have a choice but to see it. Central in your person's energy, King of Cups. Again, Pisces energy or Scorpio energy. This is a person with a lot of love and emotions. Probably have deep feelings for you, although they don't outwardly express that. They don't tell you how they feel about you. They don't wear their heart on their sleeve. They don't publicly broadcast their feelings. Tell me about this King of Cups, please. Why is the King of Cups here for Aries person? Let's get one more on the King of Cups. Just saw the 9 of Swords flip up and show itself to me, like fear, worry, anxiety, thinking about something over and over again to the point that it's stressing them out. On the bottom of the deck, there's that High Priestess again. She who knows. Unconscious mind, intuition. Yes, this is a deep connection between the two of you. But something's bad wrong with it. Something's bad wrong with it. What this is screaming to me again is this is not your person necessarily, as much as it is Aries. I'm trying to tell you something about the King of Cups, about this dude that you have all this love and emotions for. I'm trying to tell you something about him. He's got a third person. He's got 3 of Swords, heartbreak and sadness from a third energy. I think this is either you intuitively knew that, or you had the signs in front of you, the gut feelings about that. But there's the Lovers. But I don't want that to be true. This is the one for me. This is my happily ever after person. This is the one I'm supposed to be with. And hence the internal conflict about it. It's almost a case of like, if I believe my intuition on what it's telling me here, then I'm not believing in the love connection anymore. I can't have both of those beliefs at the same time. They're mutually exclusive. Like if I believe they have a third party, then that is proof that this isn't the love connection I believe it is. So I have this internal conflict about which to believe. The fact of the matter is there was a secret being kept. There was something being hidden in the dark from you. Something that you didn't know about. And there's the sadness and remorse once you find out what the secret was. And the secret was that they were in control. They were doing what was important to them. They were sneaking around behind your back. That's how we get to the painful situation of this Five of Swords, that winning at all cost mentality, that betrayal. That's how we get to the ending of the cycle and the beginning of a new cycle where the tower collapses. This is the ending of the cycle of you guys being together, and this is it all coming crashing down. And it ultimately lands you in a spot where your focus is all jacked up now. You're not focused on the right thing. To clarify this King of Cups for your person, Aries, Seven of Cups, Four of Swords, the Hanged Man. So yeah, this person has love and emotions for you, but they also have very clouded judgment. Scorpio energy, options, choices, confusion about the options and choices. They have more options than just you. And they had some confusion about it. There's a lot of different cups here, a lot of different ways they could have done this, a lot of different ways it could have panned out. Still are a lot of different ways they could do it. They don't want to make a mistake here. It's laying right next to this Nine of Cups, their personal wish fulfillment. So they don't want to make a mistake about their personal wish fulfillment. What's important to them is what they want. What's important to them is what they want. They're confused about what to do. Again, the smoke, the clouds around the cups, clouded judgment. This can also represent intoxication, whether through drinking or drugs. I've got two cards side beside each other that can both represent that. And I'm getting ahead of myself, but your person's last card is the Devil, which can be addictions to something. I'll cover that when we get there, though. Might not be that way for you, might be that exact way for the very next Aries that shows up after you to watch this. So we'll just take that part as it resonates. But we got the Four of Swords next. Four of Swords is the overall energy of the whole reading. Libra energy of taking a pause, taking a break, taking a rest, trying to heal something or trying to figure out something about moving forward here. Yeah, it's like taking a break in this connection is what this is feeling like. Hanged Man is next. This is Pisces energy of progress being halted, no forward movement happening, things being stuck at a dead standstill. The brakes are put on. I alluded to this card when I talked about your first clarifier, the Chariot. This is either the fastest energy in the deck or it's every bit as stuck as the Hanged Man. That's what feels like was happening. This was moving along at a nice pace for the two of you, and then something shifted here, and boom, your person did something, put the brakes on it, took a look. We got the break in the connection based on options and choices, and them keeping all of that under wraps. You couldn't tell by looking at them, and now the brakes are on. Sitting directly next to this Hanged Man is the Hierophant. The brakes are on this commitment between the two of you. There is no forward progress in this commitment between the two of you. Final card in your person's energy for June 2022, Aries, is the Devil. Capricorn energy. This is a heavy toxic energy. This is addiction. This is obsession. It's a feeling of being trapped by something or feeling like something's controlling them. A lot of times this will be like a piece of their shadow, like a part of themselves that they don't like, that they don't want you to see, they don't want other people to see, they don't want to look at it themselves. It's something that's happened to them where they never actually dealt with whatever it was that happened. They didn't address it, they didn't heal it, they didn't give it the attention it needed. They just repressed it. They pushed it down, tried to hide it in the shadows, tried to pretend like it didn't happen, pretend like it's not there. Only it is there, and it creates scenarios where it controls pieces of their life, and it probably causes them to inflict control and pain on other people's lives. This is rarely ever a good energy. I don't think I've ever seen a reading where this turned out to be a good energy. There's something about themselves that they don't want to face, and it creates problems. Tell me about this. It might be something emotionally, because it's sitting next to the King of Cups. The first two clarifiers in each column are cups. It might be something emotionally. Tell me about it. It might be something addiction-wise. Alcohol, drugs, some sort of thing they're addicted to. Tell me about the devil, please. Why is this here for Aries person? Wow. Wow. It's verifying for me, dude. Bottom of the deck, King of Cups. Again, Pisces or Scorpio energy. This is your person. Doesn't mean that they're a Pisces or a Scorpio, but they have been continuously referenced as the King of Cups the entire way through this reading. This is the person that you have the love and emotions for. Yes, they have love and emotions for you too. They just don't tell you about it, and it doesn't stop them from acting in their own best interest of what they want without really adjusting themselves around you in any way. Yeah, your person has some sort of an internal conflict themselves. Now, it could be that your person wants to pull in the opposite direction of you. It could be that there's this devil energy that they haven't dealt with, and that creates internal conflict with them, where they have this love and emotions for you, but then it still causes them to do stupid shit and cheat on you and exchange passionate and lovey-dovey messages somewhere else and take risks outside the connection and cause painful situations that need balanced out that probably can't be balanced out. I think your person is totally conflicted. I think their intuition probably talks to them too about the devil, and they don't want to hear that. Yeah, they're being intuitively told that, look, you need to put the work in on that stuff that you didn't put the work in on, because that is a burden that they're carrying. This is the 10 of Wands. It's a Sagittarius energy of a heavy burden being carried. But it's a 10, and 10s are completions. This is the stage where they're supposed to lay the burden down and move forward without it. I think they're being guided here to put the work in on doing that because they're carrying a burden for no reason. But I don't think they want to hear that. I don't think they listen to it. Like, they got their eyes closed. They don't want to see it. 9 of Swords is fear, worry, anxiety, thinking about something a lot, with so much fear and worry behind the thoughts that it stresses them out. This is a person who doesn't want to face the situation they're finding themselves in. They don't want to face that devil. And I'll be damned, on this devil card, that's the Fool right there. We've got the Fool as the second card down in this energy, in this reading. We've got the Fool here. Your person was the Fool. Your person was the one taking risks outside of the connection. Here, the Fool also has his face buried. He doesn't want to face the situation he's in. The cage he's in, though, the door is wide open. He could just get up and walk out and leave this devil energy behind if he chose to have the courage to look at it and face it for what it is. But he doesn't want to do that. Your person, shouldn't say he, it could be a she. Your person doesn't want to do that. So they don't, and they get stuck in a situation that controls them. Instead of them being in control, they allow it to continue to control them and cause these heartbreaking situations with third parties. Yeah, where there's choice between lovers here. A long time ago, before the Lovers card was called the Lovers, it was called the Choice. So it can definitely represent a choice between more than one lover, which is what that sword means. Your person, Aries, your person. To clarify the devil, 8 of Swords, 6 of Swords, 2 of Wands. The 8 of Swords is Gemini energy of being stuck in their head about something, thinking about something over and over and over again on this repeating loop in their mind, and not being sure what the safe step to take is, not being sure what the safe move to make is, and feeling stuck and trapped and blocked because of it. Notice again, the blindfold. They don't want to see something. This card is a self-imposed mental prison of their own thoughts. In other words, the way they're thinking about something over and over and over again is creating the situation to be the way they're representing it in their mind, when in reality it's not actually that way. In reality, they're not actually trapped. Having both of these cards together, obsession, obsessive thinking in circles about something over and over again, your person is like obsessive on something here. Obsessive on something. Again, screaming addiction at me is sitting right next to the clouded judgment that could be intoxication. It's sitting right next to the Nine of Cups, which could be drinking problem or intoxication, overindulgence on something. Again, take that as it resonates. It might not be the case for your person, but it is definitely the case for somebody watching this reading. Next, we got the Six of Swords. This seems to be what they are obsessively thinking about. This is Aquarius energy of moving forward into calmer waters. It's about leaving these rough, choppy waters of the past behind, moving forward toward what they want. At its core, it's really about moving away from this mentally and psychologically painful Five of Swords that's the shared energy between the two of you. It's about leaving that in the past, moving away from the pain and moving forward toward what they want. But this woman and the child and the sword stuck in the boat represents that they're carrying burdens forward with them when they try to move away from the painful situation. The reason for that is because they create that painful situation by choosing not to deal with their inner demon, whatever that is for them, by choosing to not look at it, to not face it, to not deal with it. They create these painful situations. And I think at some point, this is either your person trying to move forward past that and just leave it behind, and they're being stubborn and they're going to carry the burden that they should lay down right here. They're going to carry this burden with them and not lay it down because they don't want to face the situation, and they're just going to repeat the cycle again, and they're going to do this again to someone else or to you again. However that plays out, if you take them back, they will do it to you again. But I think this could also be them obsessively thinking and grinding on how the hell do I just, I got to get the hell out of here. I got to leave. I can't do this. I don't want to be in this. I want to leave this behind. I want to keep my burdens, and I just want to move on. Hence, it's sitting right next to the break in the connection, which again is the overall energy of the reading. And again, the break in the connection caused by taking risks outside of the connection, not thinking it through, just doing it, not thinking it through, just doing it. And again, this energy of control with the Emperor here, this almost feels like your person puts up this facade of being in control. They wear the mask of this person who's in control, and they try to justify their behaviors as if I chose to do all of this on purpose, when in reality, they're not in control. The reason they're putting up such a strong front of being in control is because deep down, something else is controlling them. And they don't want to face that. They don't want to see that. But by not facing it, not seeing it, not dealing with it, they continue to carry those burdens with them. And I think that's the decision point your person's in. This is Aries energy. Two of Wands is a decision point. It's a fork in the road. It's a crossroads in their life, a crossroads in this connection. It's a decision point about what path leads me to the world that I want, and what path do I have to leave behind to get there. Clearly, they're interested in getting what they want, and only interested in getting what they want. And it looks like the path they're trying like hell to leave behind is you, Aries. Almost to the point that they sabotaged it. Like they probably couldn't express any of this to you any other way than to just screw this. I'm going to do something stupid here, and I'm going to sneak around and get caught and cause this painful situation just as my way of being able to escape this whole situation and not have to deal with any of it. Now, if you still have questions you want answered about this situation or your relationship, click on any of the videos that just appeared on your screen right now. When you do, you'll be taken to more Aries love readings that can give you more insight and more clarity about what's really going on in your particular situation. And I'll see you in the next video.